What's poppin'? It's Bandit. So it all starts with I start talking to my boy Jason, and we plan on like hanging out. He plans on staying at my house, because I just moved into a new place at the time, and I invited him over for the first time because I like went on FaceTime with him. I showed him my room a little bit, and he thought it was nice. So he wanted to see, quote, I want to see the bitch. And I had an RPM 80 at the time, and he had, I don't remember, I think he had, what do you have? He had a Jewel. He had a little Jewel, Jeremy the Jewel. So we were planning on having like a fun night. He had a little bit of weed, so that's all we thought it was. We were just gonna hang out, we were gonna make a couple of videos for our podcast, and yeah, check that shit out. Cheers to the clammers off of that. So, oh my god, that was so loud. I'm sorry about that. But we decided, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna go out and do something. So we go to a Burger King, and we don't expect anything like major. We just start hanging out. And then we start off at Burger King, and then my cousin Roderick pulls up, and he picks us up, and we say, hey, can you take us to the skate park? And we chill there for a little bit, and then we call Roderick again about an hour later, 45 minutes to an hour later. And he comes, gets us, and drops us off, and we're like, alright, thanks, Roderick. And that was really it for Roderick. So we go inside, and we sit down, and we see a couple people, and I have no idea there's so many people there, so I'm just gonna call these guys the trio. And so the trio was there, and so was I. I was friends with one of the guys, Kyle. And Kyle, he like vaped a lot, like really bad. He vaped all the time, did a bunch of like shit, and probably half of it wasn't even true. But he did a lot of stuff. He had a lot of friends you wouldn't want to screw with. So we are... Oh my god, somebody's like smashing plates upstairs. Like, somebody's smashing plates. So these guys, we're all just sitting there. And my friend Jason doesn't really know these guys very well, so he's a little nervous at first because they're just, you look at them and they look like intimidating. Not really. It's kind of hard to explain. But it starts off, we're just having a little conversation about like vapes and stuff. And my friend Jason goes outside with Kyle, and they are vaping. And I'm just awkwardly sitting there looking at the other two guys. We're not really talking much, except like one of them says I look like I'm in middle school because he had no idea why I was hanging out with high schoolers. That made me feel really great about myself. And then a lot of people start to come in. I don't know where they come from. There was one girl, she showed up in a car. I'm gonna call her Crow. Crow shows up in a car with a bunch of people. My ex-girlfriend, her best friend are there. The local dummy thickies there who, do anything for a quarter. She's like those machines at most local malls. You put a quarter in, it goes for a little ride. And then Jenny's there. Jenny. Poor Jenny. I was talked about Jenny in one of my last stories. I have no idea when I'm gonna post this. So, yeah. Timeline might be fucked. So, it all starts off. I'm just sitting. I move to a different table because we kind of take up like the whole Burger King. There's a bunch of different people there. And I'm just sitting there. And Jenny has edibles. And everybody's asking for an edible. And then a bunch of people show. More people are outside that I know. Like, I'd say there's about like 30 people there. About 30, Gigi? About 30 people. And I went outside to do, like, I was like asking people for like money or something. And I had no idea like why I was asking for money. I think I wanted like a pop or something. I think Gabe was sitting inside. You're Gabe now. I switch halfway through every video. So Gabe was sitting inside. He was talking to some guy. Do you remember what you were talking about? You want to talk about this part? Wait, my boy Gigi Gabe, he's coming over.
So me and this dude, I'm going to call him Parka. He was just fucking wearing a parka. Always wears a parka. White parka.
They call him Parker.
Yeah, Parker. Yeah, Parker. And literally all I had to talk about with this dude is like he was a fucking pot dealer, and he lifted up his fucking parka, and there was like fucking this like, the movie skits where they lift trench coats and there's like shit on them, right?
Yeah.
It was fucking like that. It was just like a shit ton of weed shit all over his fucking inside of his jacket. I was like, what the fuck?
So, anything else? Anything else you'd like to talk about this beginning of the night part?
No, that was it.
Yeah, okay. That was Gigi Gabe's cameo. So, yeah, check him out. He's very good sometimes. He never posts, so enjoy the old shit. So, he's talking to this guy while I'm outside, and they're not just talking about weed. I don't really remember what they're talking about, neither does he, but they were, like, talking for, like, a solid half hour, because this guy might have, like, appeared to be an asshole, but he was being really nice to him. So, everybody's outside, and people are bumming vapes at each other, and it looks like everybody's blowing clouds outside. And, it's just getting a little intense. And so there's this girl, Jenny. Remember how I said she had the edibles earlier? And the mall person, I'm gonna call her fucking Scott. She gets to be Scott. So Scott is, one of those people who likes to act hard. I'll do anything for weed because I'm addicted to it when weed has no addictive factor. So Jenny has these edibles. Some people are allowed to have them, some people aren't. It's up to her. So Scott goes after her and starts being like, I'm gonna fight you, you bitch. And these girls were best friends for a bit. So right when the weed shows up, shit twists. Shit hits the fan. I have no idea what's going on. So they're walking in and out of the Burger King. And I feel bad for Jenny. I'm like, Jenny, come on, come outside, because, or stay inside, I meant. I try to get her to stay inside. So if you're inside and this Scott comes up and starts trying to beat her up, all the workers are there and there's cameras and stuff. So, she's gonna be fine. Or nothing's gonna be blamed on her if anything goes down. But no, she does the most stupid thing in the world. So I'm trying to stay close to her so I can break them up if anything happens. So Jenny, smartest person I ever met, honors list, everything. She goes into the woman's washroom with her and just Scott, because Scott's like, yeah, we're cool now. We're cool. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm surprised Jenny didn't come out with oh, what happened to you? Why are you bleeding? Well, she hit my face off the stall door is what happened. But no, somehow she just actually gave her 2 edibles, and then you know what they were doing? Sitting next to each other in the chair being chill as hell. And I was just like, what the fuck? So it's starting to get cold, so half of us are inside, half of us are outside. So I'm sitting on a stool. My ex-girlfriend comes up to me with all of her group of friends, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna go to my boyfriend's hockey game. Not my ex-girlfriend, her friend. I'm gonna go to my boyfriend's hockey game. And I didn't realize that at the time, but they were just trying to dump Jenny on me so they wouldn't have to be responsible for her. So they were like, yeah, can you make sure Jenny's okay? And I might be an asshole sometimes, but I know when they'll actually be serious and help somebody out. So I was like, you know what, go ahead, leave. But they didn't leave quite yet. You're never gonna believe what they did. They tried to go get edibles, except my ex-girlfriend. My ex-girlfriend sat at the table with me and she started telling me about her new boyfriend, which is pretty awkward because around the time I was still hung up on her a little bit, but not very much. It was more I didn't like her still. It was just it was shitty to talk to her. I didn't really want to talk to her because it was still a fresh wound. So she's asking me if I did the bad with my current girlfriend. And I didn't at the time, but me being ashamed, I was like, yeah, totally. But I didn't, and so we end up just being chill. I try to be nice because I don't want to cause any shit. We're all having fun. Except Jenny and Scott, but now they're having fun. So I go outside, and there's Clumsy's there, and then there's one of the Earth Rangers from the other story was there, vaping, and he was asking me if I had a chooch. That's the slang, which you should know. So there's this one girl I was talking about. I think I called her Raven or something. I couldn't tell you. Or Crow. I couldn't tell you. I think it was Crow. So Crow's car. Crow's like, hey, you want to drive my car? Just to anybody. So me being in grade 9, I'm not going to be driving for another 2 years at the time. So I'm excited. I'm like, okay, let me do it. I expect her to be like, okay, yeah, I'll sit in the passenger seat or something. My guy hands me the keys, lets a bunch of other people get in the car, and we're drifting around the parking lot. So we're drifting around the parking lot, and people start hotboxing it, and I didn't want to crash it, because once I crash it, it's my responsibility, right? So I end up driving back over to the Burger King after we do a few donuts and shit, me and all these guys. And I used to be friends with a couple of them, but I stopped being friends with them, because their weed and stuff became a little too much. It was just overwhelming, because that was before we could have a conversation about, I don't know, something like sports or what you want to do with your life, but now it's just oh, let's sell this, or I'm just gonna smoke. So that just wasn't my thing anymore. So I pulled the car back, and then the other guy who was high got in the driver's seat, and then another guy took my spot in the car because I'm not driving with them, because I could feel myself starting to get a bit high just from being in the car, because they hotboxed it. So I'm bound to breathe it in, and they didn't want me to roll down the windows, so I didn't. So I get out and they're still driving around. Nobody crashes, and they all disappear. They just disappear out of the blue, which is strange. So I go back in, and Jenny likes to lie a lot. If you didn't listen to my other story about her, go listen to that shit. So she was bumming my friend's Jewel, because we're how I said he had weed and we wanted to do stuff, but they weren't rolled. We didn't have joints or anything. It was just weed. So we were trying to bum her for an edible, and I'm like, please, come on, can we have one? And she's, well, give me his Jewel to use. But we didn't trust her. It wasn't worth risking his Jewel. So she worked hard for that. He actually got a really good deal on that jewel. I think he told a story about that. He did. All right, I'll link that story. Go check him out. So he'll make sure I do that now too. So Jenny finally agrees, but like she's trying to be weird with it. Like, oh yeah, you're gonna have to earn it or whatever. And I'm not going that way. I don't have a girlfriend. My friend was her ex, and she was a bitch to him. So he kind of gave up on her. Like, nah, fuck you. Like, you know, Kid Leroy shit, like, fuck you, goodbye. So, yeah. It ends up, like, everybody starts to leave after, like, people just start getting bored. They start going home because it's, like, 10:30ish. And there's the original three who were with us, that trio, you know, Kyle and his friend Parker and the other guy. I don't remember the other guy. And Jenny's there, and Jenny starts talking about how her parents, her dad chokes her and stuff. And I know this isn't true. Like, for a fact, I know this isn't true. So I go, so he Homer Simpsons your ass. And everybody starts laughing. She's like, that's insensitive. And she's, you know, she's trying to get attention from everybody. So I just give up and I go up and get a Coke. And I come back and the three guys are gone. Gabe's just sitting there with Jenny and they're talking. Gabe isn't a dick. Like, he'll still be nice to his exes sometimes, depending on who they are and what they did. But Jenny, he wasn't that pressed about Jenny anymore because it was such a long time ago and it was kind of like a middle school relationship. So yeah, so we're sitting in a booth. It's just me and Gabe sitting on one side and Jenny on the other. So my mom's like, well, it's getting late because Gabe was staying. She was like, can I pick you up? And at the time I was like embarrassed to be picked up from my mom with all those people there. I think I still wouldn't like it now, but it wouldn't be like as bad now because, like, you know, how are you gonna get home? You know, I'm getting a drive. That's pretty sick now. So Jenny's sitting there, and I text my mom because my mom's there, and she's like, I don't know where I'm gonna sleep. And I have a bit of sympathy, and I look at Gabe, and I'm like, are you okay with this? And you know, he's not gonna say anything. He's like, your house, do whatever. We were actually having a good time. She was being chill, so I text my mom, I'm like, she's nowhere to stay, because I wasn't gonna call her and ask, because you never do that with your parents or your guardians or whatever you're doing, because you know that's not gonna end up well. So we get in the car. I finally let her, and my mom, I kind of gave my mom a little bit of backstory because she was like, call me. So I went outside and I called her, even though she was in the parking lot. She just wanted me to call her so it wouldn't look like I was going over to ask. So I was talking to her and I explained like what was going on. Like, even if some of it wasn't true, I kind of fabricated it a little bit so like she'd be allowed to come. So Jenny gets in the car and Jenny starts talking and she has this little backpack with shit and I have no idea what's in it. So we get back to my house. Jenny walks in, takes this thing of matzo sticks, like frozen matzo sticks, and puts them in my freezer like it's like a long-term stay. Like, how long have they been in your bag? Like, is that just a pity trick out of the magic hat? So we walk up the stairs and we go in my room and she's like, I like Minecraft and whatever. And so we're there and we're all kind of high and she gives us an edible finally because that was our reward for letting her come over, I guess. I don't know. So we cut it and Gabe wants half one. I cut it in like the other half and half and I have a piece and Jenny has a piece. And so yeah, my mom calls me downstairs and like the highs are starting to come on, but they didn't really bother me that much. So I went down, she was asking me about Jenny and then she was texting people about her. So I go back upstairs and we install Minecraft for Jenny because that's the game she likes, I guess. So she's playing Minecraft. You know, I thought that would be fine. So like, Gabe comes by and she starts trying to like wrestle Gabe. So she pulls Gabe down and her and Gabe fall on the bed and one of the boards on my bed snaps. And it wasn't their fault. Like, it was more Jenny's fault. Gabe's laughing hard. So her ex-boyfriend ends up leaking like TikToks of her like twerking and shit. And it was pretty funny, or like TikToks of them. No, it wasn't her ex-boyfriend. It was like somebody hacked her TikTok, or she logged in on somebody's phone because she'd get her phone taken all the time. Did the log out, and they went through her private TikToks and posted them. So she was showing me them all, like almost crying. So yeah, and I didn't realize it. Like, I was so out of it. Like, I feel bad to this day about it because yeah, my girlfriend was super jealous because my mom thought it was her place to call my girlfriend and be like, well, Braden's having a girl over before I could tell her. So, you know, that's not good. That's never fucking good. And my girlfriend was at a family dinner, like at a restaurant, so it was even worse. So this bitch starts playing with my hair, and I wasn't picking up on it. I have no idea. Like, I feel bad still, but I'm just gonna continue to tell the story. So Gabe says something, and I listen to Gabe because, you know, like, he pulls me aside and he's like, she's being weird. So I'm like, okay, I back off, and I have like this little closet with a door that shuts. So me and Gabe go in the closet, and we start doing our thing. No, me and him start hitting the jewel in the closet, and I hide like my RPM because it was like $100, and she would steal it or do something with it. She starts talking about her like all this TikTok, and she's freaking out. So my mom calls me down one more time because she told me she had nowhere to stay. She did have somewhere to stay, and I kind of knew that, but like at the same time, I was like, well, if you're lying to not stay home, something must be going on. And it wasn't like the choking, like that's not true at all, but it could have been something else. But it turns out this other girl who dumped her on me and said, oh yeah, can you look after her? She was staying with her, and she just didn't want to bring her with her, so she wouldn't have to stay with her anymore. So she didn't end up staying with her. So she came to my house, which is kind of like, I didn't like this person after that. Not Jenny, because it wasn't Jenny's fault. It kind of was, but like, you gotta expect what you gotta expect with Jenny. So yeah, we get there, we're vaping and stuff, and the TikToks get exposed. She's crying. My mom's texting this other lady on Facebook where she's staying. She's like, yeah, you can drive her back here. So we get in the car, and she's like, well, do we have to go? We're like, yeah, you have to go, because me and Gabe were like doing our own thing. So she gets in the car, we all get in the car, so it doesn't look suspicious or anything. I don't know. Me and Gabe and my mother had this elaborate plan to get rid of Jenny. So we drive her back to this person's house, and we drop her off, and it's like, bye. And then my mom looks at Gabe and I and goes, she gets more rides than the school bus. And we're like, holy shit, like, she was being so nice to her. So we go back to the house, and Gabe, like, I don't know what this high did to him, but like, he's kind of a lightweight, like, and that's nothing bad, but like, it fucked him up, hard. So my guy is seeing dragons, like actual dragons. So I'm fucking with him, like, I'm telling him like, oh, sing this chant and dragons will go away, and I pretend like I'm some dragon slayer who protecting him and his family, and he owes me like $20 for that or something, I don't know. So I end up doing that. Gabe like is like scared to go to sleep, so I'm just sitting there with Gabe like on the floor, just letting him vape and stuff until like he calms down. So he ends up falling asleep. I put on his favorite YouTuber at the time, Luna. Yeah, you can see the inspiration. So Luna's there, and this was around when I started making videos, so I was like, this is gonna be a great video, and I tried recording this like twice. I just didn't like the way it turned out. I thought this would be a good story for like better quality because it's one of my longer ones. So yeah, Jenny ended up, if you watch the other story, you'll figure out what happened to Jenny. I have one more story with Jenny, and if you want me to tell that, I will. I don't know yet. This is a bit of a longer one, so if you're still here, comment bananas so I know you stayed. Type comment Jenny's bananas. And thanks for watching. Big thanks to Gabe for coming in. Check that shit out. If you don't like and sub, your testes are gonna fall off. You don't have them, you're gonna grow them, and they're gonna fall off. Alright, peace.